Yeah, we are good to start.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. At the outset, on behalf of Division BMI, Ronak Raja, your program manager, welcomes you once again to an exciting session of Wednesday Wisdoms. And it's great to see so many people already part of this session. And I do hope this is going to be one of the best sessions that you will attend. And I'll quickly come to the reason why I just said that. While growing up, I used to watch a lot of movies, and a few movies that really fascinated me were of Charlie Chaplin. I always wondered, what makes that man different? Like, without saying a word, he used to enthrall the audience and literally make an audience laugh, and that's probably the toughest thing to do. And then I grew up a little, and I saw Mr. Bean and Sir Rowan Atkinson showing off the same skills, and that's when I realized how crucial body language is. Again, a lot of importance is given to words, and in the past Wednesday Wisdom sessions, we have seen many times, like, how to write a speech, how to give a speech, how to use your vocal variety. But today we are going to see something different. We are going to learn how to use your body to speak. In fact, Peter Garvis very aptly puts it. He says that language is a new technology. The way your body, your eyes, and your energy set yourself on the stage much before you start speaking. So to do that, we have a very, very special speaker today. This speaker, or rather the host of today's session, doesn't require any sort of introduction. But since it's my job, I'm just going to go ahead and do this very long introduction of him. The very interesting thing that I noted right at start when he shared his introduction with me is that he's a certified NLP practitioner and a hypnotherapist. Now, truly, after reading that, I'm completely sure that we don't have a better person than an NLP practitioner to tell us more about body language. So again, a brief, snapshot of his accolades in Toastmasters. Today's speaker has won the humorous speech contest at District 98 in 2020. He's been the first runner-up at International Speech Contest at Division Level 2020. He's been the second runner-up in Table Topic Contest at Division Level 2020. He's been a Toastmaster for 4 years, winner of Triple Crown Awards 3 years in row, and is currently serving as a club retention manager for Mumbai Region BMS Division. He loves riding his bullet in free time, and also has picked up the skill of cooking during lockdown. On a personal note, I think he's a great human being, someone who is always around, someone who is probably the most energetic Toastmasters that I have come across, and is always ready to help whenever you're stuck. So, without much ado, please help me in welcoming today's host under spotlight, Toastmaster Avinash Singh. Can you
Thank you so
please
much.
spotlight Avinash? Yes.
Thank you so much. You said energetic. So, yeah, it's 9 p.m. and I'm still energetic. So, let's start with this session. What is body language? Or I actually was searching for a nice title, and I came across this book of Joe Navarro, and he's an ex FBI officer who has written a book on body language and how to detect body language. What is it that you need in order to understand body language? But my uh, rendezvous or my uh, this particular relationship with body language started very early in life. Now, I wanted to be an actor, and when I wanted to be an actor, I didn't know how to use my body language. That was the most funniest part. Now, I was working at call centers, and they had this accent training class. Now, I am not sure if you have gone through an accent training class, but there are a lot of games. They go ahead and they share a lot of things from you, for you. Now, one such activity was going out of the room and coming inside and making people believe what you are saying. It can be true, it can be false. So I took up that challenge and I went outside. Now, my trainer, he went ahead and he asked me, "What would you like to do?" I said, "Let me keep that a secret." Now, if it was this time, have been an outrage. But I came inside and I convinced everybody that I had a fatal disease and I was just going to live for certain period of time. And the room felt silent. They believed me, and at the end of it, it was becoming so serious because now people were coming to hug me. And I was like, this has gone too far. And at that point of time, I thought to myself, was I faking it or was I living it? And that's where the body language comes into picture. Now, you communicate irrespective whether you speak or not. Now, I'm today standing in front of you. I'm all dressed up. Says I'm serious about this. I want to be the best of myself. I want to look handsome. And I want to make an impact. So I'm communicating even without communicating. I have a badge over here. I'm all dressed up. I'm trying to be in the frame. Of course, this light is reflecting, but I'm trying to do my best in order to make this particular session a great one. So, what does a person require in order to communicate effectively, and that too through non-verbal communications? Now, I will switch on my chat, and either you can say something or you can type it out. I will have this as an interactive session, and I would also request a few people to switch on their cameras. Now, I'll tell you why. The reason is that as a trainer, as an L&D professional, as a public speaker, I have learned that you need cues. And when you see that the things are not going in your way, you are supposed to take that cue and go to a different direction. And that's why I needed some people to switch on their cameras. I can see Ronak here. I can see Jayanti Shah. Okay, I can see a few people. So let me change it to gallery view. Okay. Now, the challenge with gallery view is I am so inclined to see myself, which is in this window, but I'm supposed to see in the camera. So that is something which I'm struggling with, but I'll still go ahead and work with this particular issue. Now, whenever you are trying to go ahead and understand what body language is, you need a few things in order to understand that. Now, I wanted to ask all of you a question. Have you heard about Albert Mehrabian? Yeah, Mehrabian. Okay. Albert Mehrabian, he came up with this particular um, theory that 93% of our communication is non-verbal. 93%. So, and yeah, I can see Ty. Hi, Ty. So, Ty is a friend from States and she's also here. Now, when you see 93% is non-verbal, and Ronak rightly said, Charlie Chaplin, Mr. Bean, they all have mastered how your body speaks. And that's what we need to understand, that it's those things that matter, those cues that matter. Now, let me go ahead and tell you what this session will be all about. The session will be about the body language. However, I'll be focusing on three things. The first one is eye, second one is the face, and third one is the body. So these are the three things we are going to focus today. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand things. Now, it will depend on you if you apply or not. So let's start with the eye. Now, can someone tell me, is what do you do with the eye? Why is eye movement or eye contact is important? Is it important? What if I have glasses, or what if I have a goggle where you cannot see my eyes? Will I be able to connect? Yeah, you can You can write, you can chat.
I is important. I is a very communicator.
Okay,
Is it
thank you.
is it in confidence level?
Confidence level for who? For you? When you have a eye contact, it improves your confidence. Okay, great. Now there is this. I used to sketch a lot. Now I have been very intermittent in doing sketching. But I used to follow a method where I used to sketch a whole portrait and do the eyes at the last moment. Okay, everything was made, only the eyes needed to be made. And most of the times it used to go haywire. But when I understood this, how the artists used to go ahead and start with the eyes first, because eyes say a lot. When you are at home, you reach home and you are married like me, and you look at your wife and you understand the situation is not nice. Just looking at her, what did I do? I ran away. Just kidding. After some time, I went ahead and I sat with her, just being there. Because when I started suggesting things, it still didn't work. But eyes are the mirror. And when you connect with the audience, okay, now if you were being a public speaker in front of the audience, you would have dealt it in a different way. You would have gone through the whole audience. Okay, you would have made an S out of it by gazing in an S way, or make a W. There are many ways. Make an N. Okay, so you start with here, you look there, then you come here, you look there, and that's how you cover the whole audience. Okay, but now that we have this particular medium, it will be very difficult to do that, and you will lose your audience. So you will have to look at the camera, and that's where you make the connect. So eye contact in the camera, not looking at your video. If I look in the video, I'm not looking properly, and that's what we will need to understand in this particular format. So look in the camera, be confident about it. And if you want to see the audience's cues or reactions, I had heard this from the world champion, the first runner-up of World Championship of Public Speaking, Toastmaster Linda Mary. She said that always look in the camera and use the peripheral version to see what's happening around, how people are reacting, and we need to see those cues. So that's why eye contact, eye connect is very important. Now the second is the face. Now, usually it's very easy to go ahead and start with the body. How many of you think instead of face and eyes, if we work on the body and movement and gestures, it will be much easier? No? Just because I'm trying to lead that into that direction. Pudit said no, no, no. Okay. So see what happens is when you I have learned this the hard way that the most difficult thing you should do first. So, facial expression and your eyes, the eye connect, it's very important. And that's how you go ahead and try to connect with people. Now, when I talk about facial expressions, there are a lot of things which go into it. But most importantly, as I go back to my particular example of that call center training room, emotions emotions is the word. Now what happens when we are happy? To our face, I'm not talking about the body, to our face, what happens when we are happy? Now I'm asking the question, what happens when we are happy? Anyone? We
Face
smile,
glows.
face glows, wow, okay, it stretches, okay, great. What else?
Happier sign on the face.
Sorry.
Happier sign for the face.
Okay. So now,
Our eyes
when
It
closes a
starts
little.
glowing.
it starts glowing, oh my God. Okay, there is a lot of glow involved. Okay, great. So when you are talking about eyes, yeah, eyes become, you see those lines, and then you understand whether the person is faking it or actually smiling. So there is a lot of psychology behind this particular thing, you know. But ideally, the face stretches. Okay, it's calm, but it stretches. So when I'm happy, so it comes like this. And what happens when we are sad or angry? Sad or angry?
Our eyebrows are
Shrinks.
little raised.
Shrinks.
Eyebrows are raised. Eyebrows, okay. Eyebrows are raised. Okay. What? Shrink. Okay. Someone said shrink. Great. So when we are sad, it shrinks. When we are angry, it shrinks further. I'm so angry. And it happens to the body also. When we are happy, we go like this. When we are angry, when we are sad, when we are low, all those negative emotions, we are stiff. So when you understand this particular thing, that okay, your body is much more flexible, free flowing when you are experiencing positive emotions. And when you are experiencing negative emotions, it is stiff, it contracts. Okay. Eyebrows. Now, eyebrows can be, when you raise your eyebrows, it can be, oh, is that so? I'm surprised. Or, wow, a nice surprise. Okay. A not so nice surprise. So eyebrows come into picture when you are trying to figure out whether that particular information is true. How can it be true? So then the eyebrows come into picture. So when you see all these things, in sadness, we slow down. We try to search for words. We try to think, why am I sad? Why am I feeling this? And suddenly when you're happy, you have so many things. You have so many things to tell to people. You have so many things to share that you again are short of words because there are so many words. But you have that excitement. You have a raised pitch. I have seen people, when they are showing anger, they start with, I am very angry. Now, I am not very angry. I am maybe elated. I am maybe, winning something, but I am angry. I am angry. I contract. I don't expand. And that's what we need to understand. So, facial expressions. Now, there was a study made that all our facial expressions come from facial expressions, and most of our nonverbals come from our primitive mind. And that is where most of our expressions will be the same. Oh, disgusting. Really? So all these expressions will come similar to everyone in different degrees, of course, but it will come and it will be the same. So if you want to connect with your audience, you will need to see how your face is, creating those expressions in the mirror, and you have to connect with maybe your favorite actor or someone who can emote very nicely. So that is what is important. I will give you one great tip. It has helped me a lot while struggling to become an actor. I used to watch movies on mute, and I used to understand the movie. Any language, I used to understand that. So non-verbal, of course, has the tone, pitch, everything also in it. But even without that, just by expressions, just by how you go towards something, you are able to understand. So eyes and facial expressions are universal. All our expressions Whether it's a micro expression, I would suggest, if you can, find out this particular series called Lie to Me. So it's an English series where the whole thing is about micro expressions, and you just uh, so it just comes for a split second and goes, but you understand that okay, this person is feeling disgusted, sad, bewildered, whatever, but the expression comes even for a short time. So that's how you will need to work with your face and your eyes. Now, this is what you need to understand. If you can master this, more than 70-80% battle won. What's remaining will be the body. Okay. And that can be taken care of. I'll tell you how. Okay. So when I'm happy and I know it, what do? I clap my hands. So happiness shown on the face. It can be just through the eyes also. Even if I'm doing this, can I show my happiness? I'm awful with facial expressions. I'm working on it. No worries. Okay. I think you have a misconception. I like your facial expressions actually. Okay. So it's just working on your facial expressions, of course. Uh, Everything is a teachable moment, but understand this, that we have it inbuilt. The system is there, we are not using it. Maybe we are able to emote much better in our native language, maybe not in English. And that's where the issue comes. So when we are writing a great speech, we don't know where to smile, where to use those expressions. So ideally, you will have to find out what kind of emotions you are working with. Is it happy? Is it sad? And there are so many. There is a primary emotion and there is a secondary emotion. So you will have to find those emotions. Once you are able to pinpoint that emotion, then you will have to see what kind of expression it brings about, and is it coming on your face or not. It's a long way, but it's doable. You just have to observe, and that's how we learn, by observing. But most importantly, leave yourself. You'll be able to do it. Sometimes it is just that what people will think. Okay, so I was part of Anupam Kher's Actor Prepares. So I had done a short course from this particular academy, Actor Prepares. And Anupam Kher said, so the Indian actor, he said that if you are willing to be an actor, not a star, he said, if you want to be a star, wear goggles at night and go out. You will be a star. People will think, oh, why is he wearing glasses? Maybe he's a star. Okay. But if you really want to be an actor, you will need to dedicate 20 years. And when he said 20 years, I was like, okay, forget it. Okay, I'll be a trainer, not be an actor, maybe. But what he said is, you should be willing to make an ass out of yourself if you wish to go ahead and communicate with full freedom, connect with full freedom. And that's what it is. So in my sessions, I used to tell people that there are two things which are stopping us from leading us, to the best impactful speech or performance. One is ego, and the other one is embarrassment. If you can take care of the ego and the embarrassment, I am sure, okay, you will be able to master it. What do people think is something which goes on in our mind? Forget it. They will think irrespective whatever you do. So you can't change that. What you can change is feel free. What if you fail? Acknowledge that, oh, I goofed up, now what to do? But that's okay, I'll continue. So acknowledge that. So we covered about face, eyes. Now let's come to the body and hand gestures. Now, when I stand over here, something, if, I don't know if you have heard about power positions. So power position is when you are totally balanced in on both of your feet, okay, equally balanced. Okay, sometimes I used to go ahead in my childhood days in elocution competition, and we used to do like this. Okay? We used to do like this, okay, because it was, it was maybe we felt more comfortable like this. But a power position is when you balance yourself properly, and when you balance yourself and your posture is right, you will seem confident, you will feel confident, and once you feel confident, half the battle is won. Then your content should be good. So when you go ahead and use the power position, now here is what we need to work on: the body movement. Now in this particular online session, I just have this much, right? Okay. Okay. My hands are not going out. Now it is going out. Okay. So I have only this much or this much, but I have this. I have this. I can use it like this. Like the way Mike Carr, the World Championship of Public Speaking, used this particular camera, the new way of connecting with people, try to use it in that particular way. Now, here is a way: when you go ahead and you use your body, you will need to think about the evaluation which you might have got sometime in your life. Divide the stage into three parts. Okay, I still don't know why there is only three, or maybe triads. Okay, but don't divide the stage. Don't divide the stage. You need to understand what kind of outline do you have. Is it chronology? Then you start from one place and you go to another place. If it has three parts, okay, then you can divide it into three parts. Okay, starting, middle, end, that way. But if you just have problem solution, just two parts, then it will be two parts, right? Most importantly, you will need to pace with purpose. Why are you pacing? Why are you pacing without purpose? You will need to understand that. Don't pace without purpose. Have a purpose. Why am I going forward? I'm going forward because I want to emphasize something. When I go backwards, I'll come to the hand gestures. I'm just looking at the movement right now. Yeah, I still have 5 minutes. So emphasis, coming forward is the emphasis part of it. Coming forward. Going backwards is something which I don't want people to carry forward. Now, maybe it's a bad habit. So subconsciously, when I say this, I am telling people that, oh, take a step back. Don't fall into this trap. Don't do this. So I'm doing this, right? Go ahead and say yes. Yes. Do you believe in yourself? If you say this, yes, Puneet is saying, yes, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. But the better way is, do you believe in yourself? What am I doing? I am giving you, the audience, a cue to actually say yes. What if I say, do you believe in yourself? It won't work. Maybe you had a belief and then you lost it. So there are many cues which we give. Our body communicates a lot. I am very confident. Very, very, very confident. How much ever I am confident, if the body language is this, it's not confidence. There is something where you are thinking something and it's not sync or in line with what you are saying. So you will have to try to find the sync in your body language as well as your speech. What do you want to convey to the people? Wow, I'm speaking from 26 minutes. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the final part of it. That is, where do we keep this? Okay, that's one thing. Now it's better right now because you can't see it, most of it. But when you are on stage, you are able to see the whole hand. Now, hand gestures, what I had learned in while becoming a trainer, is to clasp it like this. Okay, clasp it. Okay, I'm just showing it to you. It's clasping it like this. Why I do that? And I put it near my navel. Okay. When I do this, it's easy to unclasp it, or whatever the word is, and you use your hands and can go back to this particular position. If I do like this, sometimes it will be difficult. You can also put it, just comfortably on the side. You can do it. But hand gestures is very important where you are trying to communicate something. Now, if I say, hi, I wanted to say to you that there was a dog who was barking, and I felt that why he's barking? Oh, I don't know. So what did I do? I went ahead and I kicked it. Okay, I'm sorry, dog lovers. I'm just trying to make a point. Don't use too many gestures. It's important to understand what kind of gestures you need. Are you counting something? Don't count like this. Try to count here, okay, near the shoulder, and try to have only 4 points ideally, because then you will have to use this also and it will look very awkward. So 4 or 5 points you can count here. The other part is trying to use hand gestures, but minimum, minimum, not maximum, minimum. You can compare something. This is the bottom line, this is the top line. You can use to shape something, you can use to go ahead and make this conversation go forward, but don't use it too much. And don't use it when you are trying to set a high standard. Okay. Usually sometimes we forget that high standards are here. Okay. The hand does not work in that sync. So all in all, what I wanted to say here is that when you are using your hands, it's very important that you use it at a specific point. See, I'm just trying to put that particular point on emphasis. It's very important to emphasize, but not everything. I had heard this one speech from one of the contestants at the final, who actually talked about how Toastmasters use a lot of gestures for each and everything. Whatever we say, we end up looking like we are giving a news for the deaf and the dumb. Okay, so a lot of hand gestures, it's not required. Whenever you go ahead and you understand that there is okay, I was embarrassed. So I'm also seeing some of the comments. How to manage your body language if some people in the audience looks up and says we are boring them. Okay, acknowledge that. Great. So how can I entertain you? Maybe that. Okay, see, happens. You don't have to go ahead and no, feel bad about it. Embarrassment comes, keep your ego aside. It's not important, or I say it's not possible to make everyone happy. Okay, I have 53 participants today. I'm very sure that I'll not be able to reach each and everyone. But I know I may reach someone, and maybe to an extent where the person understands and improves on it. That's the job done. Boring, you have to pre-plan. You have to pre-plan on how not to be boring. So I will give you this last example and I'll finish it off for the question answer round. I had this training session in Hyderabad. I was a part of a startup and I had to take a 5-day session on sales. Now, on the first day itself, because they needed a lot of training and explanation, the training went for quite some time. At 6 o'clock, we started at 9 in the morning. At 6 o'clock, I could see their faces all pale. They just wanted to get out of that particular room. What did I do? I let them out of the room, because anything I said after that, it won't matter. So if people say that, okay, you are boring them, thank you. I'll come back with a better content, or better delivery, or something where I can engage people. So it's okay. There are so many jokes where people don't laugh. Great. But same jokes, if you put it somewhere else, I'm not sure. I take this Avengers example, Age of Ultron, where this person, the Iron Man's friend, so he was trying to state a joke in front of Iron Man, sorry, Captain America and Thor, and they didn't get it. Okay. And he felt, oh, is it me or is it the joke or what it is? And then he went to another crowd and they started laughing hysterically. So, audience is what we need to understand. And when you understand that, then you will be able to slowly and gradually. Now, see, Sanesh is doing like this. So, I know it's the cue that I have to stop. Okay. So Sanesh is like, oh, you caught me. So, this is what you do, right? Now, I saw that he's doing like this and I pinpointed him very casually, and now he's so focused. Now, if I ask him for a feedback, he will give me all stars. So this is what you do. You pinpoint. You make the most mischievous child the monitor of the class, and you see things changing for you. So I believe my time is up. It's 33 minutes right now. I'm open for question and answer, and you can shoot away. I'll try and see if I can do justice with your questions.
Right. So as always, what we'll do is either anyone who has a question can just unmute themselves and ask the question, or you can use the chat box and just type out your question. Anything works.
Uh, my question is this hand raise, while raising the hand, is there any limit that I should not go before above the shoulder?
Sorry, I lost you. It's a
Hello?
limit with Yeah, yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Yeah, while raising the hand.
Navneet, we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
While raising the hand, it should be below the shoulder or above, or it can go to above shoulder. Something like just recently I came to know Clinton window kind of thing.
Okay. So I'm
That
sorry, I've
says
not
that your
heard
hand should
of
be below the shoulder and above the hip.
See, it depends on what kind of gesture you are using for what. If you are saying that it's the highest degree, this won't work. You have to go here. It's the highest degree of something. So it depends on what kind of uh, gesture you are using and what is it a superlative degree of something? If it's a height, the height is this. It's my height, or it's above my height. It went over my head. So it's all above my shoulder, right? But ideally, I should be in the frame. So I'm trying to see that frame, but I should be inside that frame. I should try to be, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to use out up. It depends on what kind of content you have. So it will not depend whether, so there is no hard and fast rule that, oh, you should do this only. Sometimes it does work the other way. But if you do this for high and this for low, it won't work. So you will have to understand that particular thing above the shoulder. So this is a limitation right now. But when you're on stage, I can, dance. I can just, I can go like this, and I can use any kind of. So in my final speech, the world champion of public speaking, my hand was raised like this. Okay. But when I saw this change, my hand was going above the camera. It was cutting. So I did something different. I did something different. So to ensure that it goes in sync with the word, as well as it does not cut or it does not go out of the camera. Okay. So it really depends on the word why you are using that. Okay.
Hi Avinash,
Yeah.
Sneha here.
Hi Sneha.
Hi Avinash, thank you for the awesome session. I have one query regarding the hands gestures and the movement. Like we have seen many times in TEDx speeches, there is not so much hand gestures and body movement. But whereas in Toastmaster, we have suggested that you should use the stage, you should use the hand gestures and all the things. So my question is: it something also depend on audience to audience and environment to environment? like in which setup we are giving the speech or doing the things. Like I am a lecturer, so in my class setup it goes different. And even I think I don't know if these things depend on the volume of the audience. So can you please guide on this?
See, it really actually depends on the person also. What kind of person you are. Now, I'm a great fan of Pankaj Tripathi. I'm sure if you are. So he can just do like this, a little neck movement, and we know everything about it. Right? And
Yes.
there are people like Jim Carrey who will go ahead and do, so they will use everything possible and they will exaggerate it to the limit. So
Yes.
what kind of person you are? So if you are a person who is very calm, composed, and if you try doing something out of the blue just to
Mhm.
make it happen, it won't work for you. If you're saying you are a lecturer, okay,
Mhm.
what kind of freedom do you take with your body? Okay, so it can be subtle gestures. It can be what kind of subject are you teaching? Is there a joke in it? Is there a sadness? Is it a sad story? Is it a very thrilling story? What kind of story are you telling, or what kind of speech are you giving? So it depends on that how you use. But exaggerating is dependent on you. You will have to decide how much is too much. So, like I gave the example, I'm angry. No, I'm not angry. Okay. But so that happens when we try to totally replicate someone. Maybe I don't even identify it. Just because it said that, you should have great gestures, you should
Mhm.
have great body language. Body language is required. If you think that you can do it in minimalistic way, do that. I can be impactful just by using this much, just by a little smile, just by being genuine, just by trying to be a little bit funny. Okay, so I can do that, but it depends on person to person. What kind of person you are, use that. Don't just go on that. Oh, in Toastmasters you are supposed to that. That's why I gave that funny example that in Toastmasters,
Mhm.
you use hand gestures for everything. No, it's
Yes.
not required. You will need to understand. It's just that if you do like this, and if you
Yes.
say, maybe on the lectern, sometimes. So I have this example of a Navy admiral. Uh, you go and see on YouTube. He has delivered an awesome speech. See, I'm struggling for words because I'm so happy or so elated. So I he didn't use much of facial expression, body language. He was standing in front of a lectern, but he was very expressive. His content was very to the point, and it had all the right emotions that could be evoked in your audience. If you have that right emotions to be evoked in the audience, even with minimum body language, you can make an impact.
Thank you so much, Avinash.
Most welcome.
It will work for me.
Yes, yes, it should work, and it will work.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, so there is this question, different in online meetings compared to physical meeting. Is there something extra required for online meetings? Yes. For online meetings, you have only this much space. So rather than going out of the frame, you will have to be, like a pendulum. So you will have to be in this way. So camera comes like this, okay, in this particular fashion. Okay. So if you go out of the frame, then it will be an issue. So try to be within the frame. Okay. This I can use. And then use the forward and backward movement. But most importantly, have the camera at the eye level. If you don't have the camera at the eye level, it still will not make a very good impact. So if you are looking like this down, okay, so it won't work. So I know you will have to use a good number of books or something to raise that particular camera level, but it should be at the eye level, and that will, if that is in sync, you will have a good impact.
Thank you, Avinash, for answering my query. Thank you for
Most welcome.
answering my query.
Most welcome, sir. Any more questions?
Yeah, how to synchronize with the words and action.
Yeah. Now that is what we need to learn. So how I do it is I take this particular, because I'm so used to it, I first write each and everything. I make a draft and then I read it out. When I read it out, I know where exactly are the emotions or those words. Sometimes the words don't match the emotion, or the words, when I speak, I'm not able to sync the gestures with those words which I've written. So I go back to the drawing board, change those words, and see if my body language, my expressions are, working with the other word or something else, some other phrase. So it so happens our writing and the way we deliver are sometimes different. Now I am a person who writes the draft, okay, and practices it to the T. So if you are my kind of a person, then you will have to decide on the draft first. Keep on redrafting until you get there to that point where you sync. Now syncing with the particular words is understanding the emotions. Is there sadness? Is there joy? Is there great gestures required? So as I told you, if it's a positive emotion, it's your body is more flexible and you are more stretched, you can say. If it's a negative emotion, you shrink. So accordingly, you can go ahead and choose that. And then once you start syncing, have those practice sessions 15 times, 20 times. You will need to understand whether you are use the mirror. Some people say, you don't use the mirror, but it works for me because I know what kind of expressions I am making and is it working for me. So you can use that also. Yeah. But it depends on you.
Nice of you for the good answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Shriya has raised her hand. Yeah, yeah, Shriya.
Okay. Shriya here, LNT Toastmaster Club. Hi, Avinash.
Hi.
My question is with different forum, we use probs many times to convey exact message want to convey rather than misinterpret with the body language and the words. Is it true or the probes helps us to convey the message rather than the body language?
Props, you
Am I
mean
audible and
props?
clear?
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Yes,
well. Very
yes,
well.
yes.
You are talking about props, right? Props. See, props actually depends on
Right.
you. If you don't, see, n- even if you use props, you can't hide your face, right? You will have your face, and if the phrase is expressionless, then it will be a little bit challenging. Now facial expression, it might not be a very big expression, it can be a micro expression too, but you will need to understand that you'll have to use your facial expression in order to convey that, your eyes, your face, your smile, your sadness. Okay, so are you, what kind of facial expression are you using, it will depend on that. Props can be used, of course. If it's working with the message, it can be used, it should be used. I don't use it much because I can convey it with words also. So but there are great examples. So if you see Dhananjay Hitarachi, he started with a rose. He started plucking the rose and he connected it to how we in life are facing challenges, and life just plucks parts of us, and we are all destroyed kind of a thing, or we feel destroyed. And eventually at the end he took up that particular rose which was full, which was a new rose, of course. But he said that if you have people around you who can support you, they can make it into a whole again. So yeah, so like magician using claws, but there are facial expression, body language, or steals the show. Okay, yeah. So yeah, exactly, Sneha Gupta. She said that props can be used. Body language, you will need a little bit of body language. Facial expressions is required even if you have props.
Okay, thank you, Avinash. There is one more question from my side. The jumping to show the excitement and the sobbing to show the sadness. Is
Hmm.
it is extreme expressions which is not permitted or like that?
Sorry for drinking water in between. between, but yeah. So, uh, what kind of a person you are? So, if you go on an airport, okay, when you go on an Indian airport, okay, ideally, you will see people, oh, come on, met you after a long time, great, okay. But if there are buddies, or if there are, oh my God, come on, after so much time, we have come, and they are fully elated. So, what kind of person you are? Are you facing, are you experiencing those emotions when you are trying to meet someone or trying to uh, express yourself? If you are such a person and people have seen you jumping with joy, or you can jump for sorrow, you can jump for joy. So when you're jumping for joy, and if you do that in real life, it will be great. But if you are doing it for the sake of impact, it might not work, because that's not the kind of person you are. So it should feel that way. If you can feel that, then you can do it. So even if I don't feel, I try to do it, it won't work. If it's a
Okay.
wrong thing, or if it's not correct, say for example, currently I am not sad, but my particular content requires me to be sad, then what will I do? I'll take some time. I'll pause a little. I'll try to cringe my face. I'll I'll see if this particular part is working or not. So what am I doing? I'm trying to live those emotions within me. Okay. But I'm trying to be genuine at the same time. So I can feel that emotion. If I can do that a little bit also, it will show on my face. And that's what is required. You
Okay.
can't deceive people. You will have to live it. If you can live it a little bit also, it will show on your face.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got
Thank you
one
so
question.
much,
Avinash,
Avinash.
Avinash,
Most welcome.
Avinash, I have
Yeah,
one
Ji.
question.
Yeah.
Does this gesture differs on the stage, actual physical stage, and actual at
Yeah.
the doing it right now at the against the camera? Because the
Yes.
limitations and there is no
Yes.
limitations. But does
Yes.
it make
Yes.
dramatic or does it doesn't make it dramatic?
See, what happens is, now I'll give you an analogy to it. If you go ahead, so there are a lot of plays done, okay, and where the stage is huge and the audience seating arrangements are far away, a little bit far away. If you go ahead and see those actors, okay, up close, you will be petrified, because there is so much makeup, okay. Because the audience are far, you have to highlight a lot of things. But the audience, if it's near, then the makeup and everything is very subtle. So it's the same way with expressions and body language. If it's a huge auditorium, if it's a huge audience, so you're speaking in front of 500,000, 3,000 people, then your gestures need to be huge. It needs to, cover that particular audience. But if I'm speaking in front of this camera and I have only this much space, then I'll have to limit myself in this particular area. So it depends on which kind of platform, what kind of audience, how many number of audience are there watching you. If it's a platform, even if this is 1,000 people, doesn't matter. Okay, but if it's in physical setting, it will matter. So you will have to be a little bit more
Yeah,
with
more.
respect
It's
to
like
gestures.
more dramatic on the stage. Like it to be a more dramatic on the stage.
More dramatic, not necessarily. The gestures, if you are using this much for a small audience, it will be a little bit exaggerated. You will have to be a little bit exaggerated when you are working with a large crowd, so that they can actually see it properly. Okay, even the
Yeah, because
person who's sitting at the end.
yeah, this
Yeah.
time winners of the I think Toastmaster winner of the annual meeting. I seen that person coming from one corner to on the stage and then slowly taking up. So does it makes difference or does it make do not make difference?
It depends. See, again, it is very subjective. If your content requires it, you can use it. If your content doesn't require it, you don't need. I can stand and deliver a lot of messages with only my facial expressions and hand gestures. I don't even need to move. But if my content requires to emphasize something or in such way or take a back seat, I can go ahead and use this particular platform in that particular.
Nice, nice, Avinash. You have a good answer to my questions and good
Thank you.
query.
Thank you so much.
I'm from New Jersey, New York, USA.
Wow, wow. Great, great,
Nice
great.
of you to hear you.
Thank you
Hi,
so much.
Avinash. This is Tej from the other Toastmasters. My
Hey.
question is basically uh, if we see one of the good orators,
Hmm.
Hitler, he uses
Okay.
lot of handshakes and power punches, head shake, everything. So, is that a good thing or bad thing, and which kind of audience it is advised at?
Okay.
Avinash, just one
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
before you answer
This
this
is the
question.
last
So,
question.
in the interest of time, we'll just take this as a last question. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take this as a last question. I was seeing the time. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes. Tej Bahadur, right? So, yes. Now, Hitler, what was his purpose? His purpose was to inspire people in order to do something which you won't do, right? And that requires a lot of conviction, first of all, from yourself, and you need to convince others, in fact, to such a stage where you maybe hypnotize or brainwash them. So, of course, it will need a lot of angry justice, lot of emphasis, lot of energy. And when you use a lot of energy, a lot of emphasis, your body will be like this. Yes, I'm doing this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Will you be able to do that? So this is something which you will have to understand, that what kind of purpose you are working with in a speech. Also, are you trying to inspire an audience? If you're trying to inspire an audience, you will have to, go ahead, have a great content and match it up with the delivery. If you're trying to persuade people, then you will have to ask an audience an interactive question: will you do this? So it will depend on what kind of purpose you have. And if you want to match that with the body language, and if there is a huge crowd which you want to convince, then you should be very energized, and you need to drive that point. In order to drive that point, sometimes we force that point. uh, Ideally, force is not the right word, but again, it requires a lot of energy to convince people. And then you have a lot of head shakes, emphasis points. You should feel that passion. If I am passionate, then I'm passionate. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So this requires energy. You will have to use that. Okay. So thank you so
Okay,
much.
great.
I hope I have been of some help. You can connect
Yes.
with me later, or connect to Ronak and he can share things with me. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Ronak, over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Avinash. I'm sure there would be a lot of questions because it's an interesting topic and a lot of people will have a lot of questions. I would request anyone who has questions to just write to us and we will definitely share those questions with Avinash and get your answers. So with that, thank you so much, Avinash, for taking time out. I think I'll just borrow the last example which you said. You literally hypnotized us. You put us in under a spell, and I know you're a trained hypnotherapist, and you actually worked your spell on us. Thank you so much for doing it. I love the absolutely practical tips that you shared with us. Some tips which are extremely relevant in today's virtual environment that we are in, and the kind of speeches that we end up giving. So thank you so much for doing this. To all the audience, thank you so much for taking time out and coming over here and being a part of this session. Please do spread word. We are going to come back with more interesting sessions like this, the Wednesday Wisdom series. And with that, it's 10 o'clock on the clock, and we bring this session to the close so you can go back and have your dinners with your families. Stay
Wow.
safe,
Thank you.
stay
Very nice
healthy,
of you.
and thank you so much, Avinash, for doing it.
Uh,
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night to you, and good morning here in USA. And it is ice falling outside. So I just gone
Oh,
for just to see the ice falling. Now the
wow.
season is started in US.
Wow.
And I got to take in the blue photograph, which I'll send you out across here. How the I see that.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Thank you so
Nice.
much.